say you forgive so you can forlive.
That's good.
Living.
Wow.
So it's not so much about the person, what they
Right.
did,
Right.
or
Right.
any
Right.
of that. It's so
Right.
that you can forward live.
Yeah. Hey everyone, welcome to the Christyn Show. Today, as promised, I brought two licensed clinical therapists here with me today, and this is Shalita Butler
Hello.
and Natasha Reed, and they're here to help me help you figure out how do we forgive the unforgivable, or how do we just start the process. So I asked you guys to send me some questions on Monday. And so these are some of the questions that came in. The first one was, what does forgiveness really look like? So what does forgiveness look like? I'm telling them to forgive. That is very important. That is not just for the other person, but it's for them. But how am I explaining what that really looks like?
Well, I'll start. Forgiveness is really a choice to begin with, and we like to focus on the action a lot, but it's more of a choice, and the action follows the choice. So it's a mental decision that I have to put separation between me and whatever the offense was.
Yeah.
That might be the person as well, but it's a choice that I'm going to put space emotionally between me and whatever it was.
Okay.
And once you make that decision, then there's action that kind of follows and backs it up.
Okay.
I agree. I feel like forgiveness is a form of peace.
Yeah.
I feel like it is a decision that you are making for you to move forward with life in peace.
Yeah.
And once you make the decision, there are steps, there are more decisions,
Yeah.
and then you have to begin to counteract thoughts, feelings, emotions to get to the desired place that you're trying to get to.
Yeah. I'd say you forgive so you can forlive. Forward
That's
living.
good.
Wow.
So it's not so much about the person, what they
Right.
did,
Right,
or
right,
any
right.
of that. It's so
Right.
that you can forward live.
Yeah. So
That's good.
that right. Just throw all the knowledge out.
Throw
Get all the tips.
Cool.
Yeah, get these tips. So the next question was, once you've healed from it, right? Once I've forgiven them and I said I forgive you and I'm gonna move on, I'm done with it. How do I heal? How do I heal from it? How do I protect myself from reopening wounds? In one of the episodes, somebody asked me like, I forgave them, but I let them back in, and then they hurt me again. So, and you said forgive them, and I forgave them, but then I got hurt again. So how do I, once I've healed, how do I protect myself from reopening old wounds?
I'll start with that one.
Okay.
Forgiveness doesn't mean I let you back in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Physically.
Right.
A lot of time forgiveness is an internal thing. And once you make the decision that I have to let whatever offense or hurt happen,
Right.
then you have to make a decision, where does the person fit into my life?
Right.
And when you make that decision, it can be in or out.
Yeah, that's what I was about
It
to
doesn't
ask.
have to always be in or out. I mean, it don't have to be, you have to be in, and that means I forgive you. I can choose to have you out of my life and then work on forgiving you for whatever you've done.
Right.
If these are severe offenses that tears you down, kills you internally, then you have to make decisions about keeping them out of your life.
Yeah.
Every relationship is different, whether it's a spouse or boyfriend, girlfriend, fathering of children, mothering of children, your child, your parent, sibling. So a co-worker. So you have to look at what relationship it is to be able to create the barriers around it. But the goal is, if it is these traumatic ones that are so painful,
Right.
it ain't no in and out.
Yeah.
It is, we're done.
Yeah.
But the other ones that are salvageable,
Yeah.
then you have to then make decisions on how far you in, how far you out. But you have to do the work
Right.
of forgiving and healing, so that the bruise can heal and it's not easily
Right.
reopened
Right.
every time. So timing is a part of that.
It's not still a scab that somebody could come up.
Exactly. You hit my old wound, it don't really hurt as much. So
Right.
time
Yeah.
to heal is
Right.
definitely something you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I would just agree with everything she just said and
Right.
say to restore your heart toward a person doesn't mean you have to restore the relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that posture of heart is, I can see you and I cannot flinch and I cannot have all those feelings. And I
Right.
cannot, have the physiological, emotional, mental, physical responses to you.
Right.
But I can still have boundaries around that relationship.
Yeah.
And so I can say I love you and not see you.
Yeah.
I can think great thoughts toward you and not talk to you.
Yeah.
And that is healthy
Yeah.
to be able to say. And that's harder the closer the relationship is.
Yes.
True.
It's difficult to do, but you have to really work with you, maybe a therapist. Also God, just being honest.
Yeah.
Because sometimes what we'll do for the sake of forgiveness, and I just have to say the church has taught us some untruths in terms of forgiveness, that we
Yeah.
just got to sacrifice ourselves and put ourselves in toxic
Yeah.
situations
Yeah.
and things that are just dangerous
Yeah.
to us. I mean, that's how sexual abuse and all
Yeah.
types of
Yes.
abuse and domestic violence are perpetuated.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Go give Uncle Johnny a kiss. Well,
Yeah.
you already know that Johnny ain't right.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
not we're
No.
not
Right.
forgiven on that level.
Mhm.
And there's stages to it. And so
Yeah.
being able to just say, trust in your own gut.
Yeah.
Like, if it ain't good for you, I don't care if it's your mama,
Yeah.
That's right.
your daddy. If
Yeah.
it's toxic to you, your well-being, like
Yeah.
Shalita was saying, and it's breaking you down, you can't function,
Yeah.
then you got to put space between
Yeah.
you and that person.
It's
that
like-
situation.
It's like loving you better. Like I love me
Yeah.
more
Thank you.
than and not that I forgave you, but I still love me more.
Yes.
That I'm not going to go through this pain or this situation any longer. So just deciding how much more I'm gonna let you in,
Yeah.
and
get
not
that.
because they keep bugging you.
Right. Because I was going to say, I'm not going to make my ministry forgiving you.
Yeah.
Like, that's not
Right.
going to be my life. Every time we have an interaction, I'm
Right.
back at round one where I got
No.
to forgive you
No.
over and over again. Like, God has other things for me to do.
And I will say, on the flip side of that, we are a easily offended culture,
Yeah.
Mhm.
where it is, I'm expecting mama to get me a certain gift or husband to get me a certain gift for Christmas,
Yeah.
and it wasn't what I expected, and or he didn't or she didn't get me one, and I'm offended, I'm mad, I'm not forgiving him or her for that. And it's like, Patty. So we need to,
Right.
and then on every holiday, I'm triggered,
Yeah.
So we have to make sure, as we deal with mental health,
Yeah.
as we deal with the big words now of being heard and triggers and things like that, that we make sure that it is a fair level of forgiveness that you are willing to extend or not
Yeah,
extend,
yeah.
because there are the big ones. And then there are some people where I'm like, you won't forgive because of that?
Mhm.
Come on.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think there is a level of looking at what the offense is
Yeah.
and making sure it measures up to the crime. Make sure that
Mhm.
what is it when you the sentence fit the crime.
Right.
Yeah.
Because sometimes people not speaking of family and friends for
'Cause
forever.
you get
We're
it
done.
hard.
Yeah.
Because I just don't like that you did that. And it's like,
Yeah.
But then, like Natasha said, there are some times where it has been horrific violations,
Yeah.
and it is pushing people to forgive them. And it's like in stages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And to go back on something Shalita just said, it was just maybe a week ago or two, I was offended by something. And I was like, I don't want to stay in this, but I do want to. Can you give me a day to get through my emotions and then forgive it? And I don't have to go to that person and say, I forgive you for doing this. That person don't even know that they offended me. They don't even know that I'm hurt. I haven't even communicated that to them.
Right.
But I had to say, you know what? And I don't want to downplay my feelings and say it was petty, but it was something that I felt strong about. But I had to say, why is this bothering me so much?
That part, yeah.
And that's why I say when I say to hurt people, because I was hurt by something and I felt like somebody had taken advantage before, and I didn't want that to happen again. So I was protecting my heart, but mad at the other person because that had nothing to do with them.
Yeah,
it was real feelings. But I needed a day to get over it. I didn't have to take it years to get over it. But I needed a moment just to really sit in it and say, you know what, this is.
Were you really over it after that day?
It took not the first day, but I didn't even get to be somewhere near that person until I was over it. I couldn't, and it took me about 2 days. Now I feel like smaller because. Now let's focus. When you're on your cycle, when you go through your own
when you can't
even focus on that's where I was, and I was like, okay, it's so much more going on in life that I had to. Yes, it wasn't.
That's the part.
Yeah. So when I was ready, I said, okay, I forgive this person for this. I ain't have to go there and be like, or him and say, you know what, I forgive you for what you did. She don't even know, or he don't even know that. You know,
but you're talking about emotional, certain level of emotional intelligence and being healthy, because when you are emotionally intelligent and healthy, your tolerance level is a little higher. You can even recognize, like, that same person might have done something on a day that your tolerance level was higher, and it wouldn't have hit, you wouldn't even blink. And so being able to evaluate, like Shalita was saying earlier, what's going on with me? Why am I so sensitive to this? Not downplaying how you feel, but trying to understand.
Right.
Because forgiveness, again, we can't control anybody.
Not at all.
And people, for the most part, are going to be who they are.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that we can alter in any situation is us and our perspective.
Yeah.
And so, even just looking at your response, and then, are you really upset with them?
It was more.
Is it a situation, or are you even upset with you? Because sometimes we upset with ourselves that we put ourselves back in the situation to be vulnerable, to be offended.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it is so, it's bigger than most times what it is.
Yeah.
And we have to just, when Natasha said, cut through it.
Yeah, cut through it.
And there does require emotional intelligence. It requires some spiritual maturity. It requires to be able to self-evaluate before we begin to respond.
Yeah.
And take it all in. Like, take a dose of it. Don't take, like, we internalize everything. And especially women, we are natural receivers. That's why we get the seed and we make it big. We grow.
Right.
But we do that with everything.
Yeah.
So we do have to take it and make sure that we did not take it at a seed form, and now we are 9 months full term.
Right.
It's a big old toddler.
It's a big old toddler.
Yeah. So another question was, I know forgiveness is to benefit me. We talk about that. But how do I forgive what is unforgivable? Like violation of marriage, abuse, etc.
That's good.
Again, I think you have to put space between you and the thing, because you're not so much forgiving what happened to you, because I think there are some things that are unforgivable. They are unforgivable. And it will never be okay.
Yeah.
It will never be all right. If you look at that thing, every time you process it, it's going to be wrong.
It's wrong.
It's just wrong. And so it's moving away from forgiving that. And again, you're coming back to, I'm surrendering what I think about this.
Yeah.
that's really what you're surrendering. Right? I'm surrendering my right to keep playing this
Yeah.
over
Oh.
and over
No,
and
that's
over
good.
again.
Yeah.
And when you surrender that, because again, it's not about them. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about what they did.
Right.
It's about
thing.
the thing and the
Right.
peace
Right.
that is disrupted within you.
Right.
And so forgiveness is all about, we can think about getting back to my peace.
Yeah.
And when you think about it that way, that other person, that other situation, that other thing isn't even a factor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when I make you small, you become small.
Yeah.
Like
Small.
you're not the thing.
Yeah.
You're not it.
And all I'm looking for is getting to my peace.
Right.
And so if that means I gotta cut you off to get my
Yeah.
peace,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna cut you off to get my peace. If that means I have to leave, even temporarily,
Mm-hmm.
a marriage,
Mm-hmm.
separate, I'm going to stay with my mama, or you going to stay with yours, like
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
For that, if I need to change careers, if
Mhm.
I need whatever it is that I need to do to go toward my peace,
Yeah.
that's the work.
Okay.
And I'll add to that. The separation is very, very big. And as you even separate the person from the thing, then you can even look a little deeper. And this is what we do typically in therapy is let me look at that person
Okay.
as a human
Mm-hmm.
instead of the offender.
Right.
Okay.
Show me your mother. Show me your father. Show me how you were mothered.
Yeah.
Show me your wounds.
Yeah.
And once I see your wounds,
Mm-hmm.
I can see how you begin to wound others.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's not excusing a behavior. God knows it isn't.
Right.
Because if it's wrong, it's wrong.
Right.
But I can now develop some peace about it ain't been personal.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's how did you hurt me?
Right.
How did you hurt our marriage? How
Right.
could you do this to some? And a lot of times it ain't personal.
Right. They're not even there to process that it's hurting you. It's just they're processing. This is what I know, right?
You're sinning against yourself. That's
Yeah.
what the Bible says.
Yes.
You're looking at them sinning against you,
Mm-hmm.
but the bigger issue
It's them against
is
them.
them against them.
Yeah.
And we can normally track that baby all the way up. And
Yeah.
it is hurt people.
Yeah.
The theme of what you were talking about. So, you want to separate needing your peace
Yeah.
from making them feel good.
Yeah.
But I'm going to also not 100% demonize you either,
Yeah.
because I'm going to separate your offense from the human that you are and what you've probably been through.
So I guess I just want to, because I want to make sure that I'm understanding. So are we forgiving the person or the offense in a situation like this?
Both. I say both.
I say the person.
Okay.
Oh, you're right. The offense.
Yeah.
If the offense is wrong, then the offense is wrong.
Yeah. Because this is, and we used to tell this to our kids when we were raising them, and someone would apologize.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, again, stuff we have to unlearn.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, I'm sorry. And then what were you taught to say?
For
I
what?
forgive you.
What are you forgiving for?
No, this is the response.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm,
It's
mm-hmm.
not
you talking about
okay.
the
Yeah.
What the person was
Oh,
saying.
okay.
They would say,
They would say,
it's okay. And we
Okay.
would say, it's not
it's
okay.
not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
That's funny because I
But
do that to my kids. Like, I'm sorry. No, you're not. Or no. This is terrible.
But no, we say it's the truth, right?
You want to say, I say, no, you're not, because you just want to, I say that because you just want to get to the next thing. And I really want you to be sorry, but that's not my responsibility
Right.
for them to decide.
For
if they
you to
really-
feel like we passed it.
Right.
Because sometimes
Right.
what you're doing is you are evading that whole process when you say it's okay.
Right.
Because I'm taking away your guilt. I'm taking away
All
all
of
in
it.
that moment. I'm
Right.
making it okay for you.
Yep.
Right.
And that's not what should happen.
Yeah.
And you
I'm,
don't
and I'm
mean
still
it.
hurt.
I'm gonna say, and you
Yeah.
don't mean it.
And you walking around like, okay, you good?
You told me it was okay.
So don't bring it up again. Don't bring that up again. If you said it's okay, don't bring up you heard about it again. Because you said okay. And that's hard because I'm looking like you said we were taught that.
Mhm.
That's something that that was learned. Like you say, okay, but I'm not okay.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So
And then putting down parameters. That's the next part.
mm-hmm.
So I'm not okay.
Mm-hmm.
This is what you can do to make it better.
Mm.
That's the real path to forgiveness, especially when you talk about relationships
that are going to continue.
that are going to continue.
We
You cannot do
we
this.
telling these hurt people that the ones that hurt us.
The one that hurt us. If you want to stick around,
You cannot
Okay.
do this. You
Okay.
cannot do that.
Okay.
You will come home at night.
Okay.
You won't be on the phone. But like they're going
This
to be.
is boundaries.
Yes,
boundaries.
but like Natasha said, at the end of the day, you still can't control that.
Yeah.
So you can forgive the offense. It is not okay. If you're staying, we're going to move forward. But if they don't change,
Yeah.
Now you got decisions.
then you got decisions to make.
Mm. Okay.
It,
They
'Cause
said you
sometimes-
got decisions to make.
We want to sometimes put our work on other people.
Right.
When I'm
That is-
showing, if
that
I'm
is-
showing you this is who I am.
This is who I am.
After some point, if I've been cheating for 15 years
Mm.
and we go through this same roll around the mountain
Wow.
every 6 months or every year and a half, and we end up back in this space, I have told you something.
Yeah.
Are you listening?
I feel like you told them that you 15 years into this. You told them that it's okay.
Yes.
that part. That part.
Mm. Wow.
So who's really offending you? You're offending you at that point.
And there's a
It's not-
level of ownership.
Yes.
There is a level
Yeah.
of ownership that comes with forgiveness.
Yeah.
And especially if you are letting them back in those situations was like, what was it? Marriage.
Mhm.
A violation of marriage, abuse,
And a-
etc. Any of those.
The some of the heavy
Yeah,
hitters.
yeah.
And give yourself time to
Mhm.
even process abuse,
Yeah.
because it affects so many different things and so
Mhm.
many, it depends if you have children
Yeah.
and things like that. If he abused you, will he abuse them? So you just want to make sure that you truly evaluate it, and you want to make sure that
Yeah.
give yourself time. If you need a therapist to work through it with you, if you need spiritual guidance, a sibling, someone with sound mind
Mhm.
that can help you navigate it, you want to reach out to them before you begin to just let back in, because it can be a snowball effect.
So I'm gonna add this. I'm not gonna add. I'm gonna add something that kind of what you said. So my thing was hurt people, heal people, heal people. You just said if you're in abusive relationship and kids are involved and stuff, and sometimes kids feel like, Dad, you left mom or dad. And if they were around and we were just still a full family, then my life could have been better, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we made the decision. So how do we make sure the kids know that I did or we did or the person did the best that was for the family?
Mhm.
Because now they're hurt that mom and dad is not in there and we have to live outside and I got to go visit mom or I got to go visit dad. And now I feel like how do you break that hurt part?
Communication.
Okay.
And just like mom or dad may need therapy, the kids may need it.
Yeah.
They may need somebody who can help you give them the messaging you want them to
Yeah.
receive. And so you may have to formally put them in counseling. You may have them attached to a community group, a youth group at
Okay.
church, where people are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same idea. But also, depending on the age, there's some level of reality that you have to share with, because they're unlearning too.
Yeah.
That's true.
With your child, and that mom chose the lesser of two evils, or
Yeah.
dad chose the lesser of two
Right.
evils, and there was no perfect answer. Like,
Right.
I didn't want this either.
Right.
And just being real about
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is what it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much at this point.
Yeah.
And kids are smart.
Yeah.
Like, they get it.
Yeah.
They get it, especially when you have intervention early.
Yeah.
They get it, and they're able to get on the road that you want them to be on, the healthy road that
Yeah.
you want them
Healthy
to
road.
be on.
Yeah.
I was going to say communicate on their level.
Yeah.
You're not going to drop a whole bomb
Right.
on a 4-year-old.
Right.
Dad has been cheating for 15 years. He doesn't come home. He has this girlfriend named so and so.
Wow.
He's a no good dirt.
Yeah.
And we do that.
Yeah.
And then wonder why the child is carrying such a heavy load in his school, not performing the way he's
Correct.
supposed to, and, carrying the hurt. Age appropriate.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be what they can handle at that age, at that moment. But your goal is to take some of the hurt away, not add more hurt on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I got 2 more questions for you guys. So one of them is, why should I forgive? And I think you may have hit some of this question. Why should I forgive a person instead of just erasing them from my life? And I think we kind of talked about that question, but I did want to put it out there because someone asked it.
Because you take you with you wherever you go.
Yeah.
Like you can throw somebody out of your life and erase them,
Yeah.
but that emotional part of you is still with you.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to forgive, because it's not about them. Let's say you broke up with a boyfriend and he's now in Alaska and you're in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
If you have not forgiven him, that new boyfriend in Maryland,
Yeah.
y'all in a throuple.
Yeah.
You still with him.
Wow.
Because you haven't
That is
dealt
true.
with any of that stuff.
That is so.
Yes. We think
Wow.
out of my presence mean out of my mind and out of my heart.
Mhm.
And that's not true.
Because if that person come back from Alaska to here, he gets to jump back in there because you.
He don't
he
even
never
have to.
left.
He never
He
left.
never left. The person you could have, you could have an issue, say with the father.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking to my dad anymore because he wasn't there, or mom.
Mm-hmm.
But all you talk about with your friends is how daddy wasn't there and how mama wasn't there and mama no good. They are still controlling your life.
Yeah.
And for the example about the boyfriend, if he's in Alaska, but you are so mad at him and you hate him and all men are dogs. And I remember once Christmas, you still with him.
Yeah.
I had a client the other day that I was just talking with the client, and she was talking about an ex-husband.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, years has passed. Talking 30-something years has passed.
Wow.
And I intercepted and I said, well, what does your husband do? Because this is not her husband we're talking about. So we're talking about how the 30-year ago didn't give her nothing, didn't take care of nothing, but you got a husband now that goes to work every day. Your houses are paid off, but you can't even enjoy the sun that's shining in your face.
Still in the rain.
Because you're still in the rain.
The storm.
And that's what unforgiveness does. It steals today.
Yep. Today and tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's when we say when we say forgiveness is for you. People focus on the external part of it and the person, but it just, what Natasha said, it's an internal thing where you are choosing to literally take the hurt off of you and take the weight off of you and take the offenses off of you, even though you were offended, so that you can be light enough to put one foot in front of the other and to have a clear mind. In real peace.
Real peace. So the next question is, when people say when you have to put in the work, you have to, how do you do that? So if I say you have to put in the work, they want to know how you do it, and does it require professional help, or can I do it myself?
I think you can do it yourself. You have to be disciplined.
Okay.
Again, when we go back to the choice, forgiveness is a choice. Every time that thought comes to you, every time that feeling comes to you, every time that situation wants to replay, you got to have this set narrative in your head and in your heart that you're going to fight it with. And literally in situations where I've had to forgive, I go back and say, I already forgave this. I chose to forgive this. I'm not opening this wound back up, because literally you have to go and peel it off and pluck it. And so I'm choosing not to pluck this scab. This is gone. and I'm gonna deal with what I feel right now that might have been triggered
Mhm.
because that's what I need to deal with. But I'm not gonna go rehash
Yeah.
something that I've already
Yeah.
said that I've forgiven. And if I feel like I have to rehash it, then what doors have I opened in my life to put me back in that situation or something very similar?
Yeah.
Yep, I agree. And I think if you're unable to have the discipline
Yeah.
to do it alone, and if you're still replaying it and it's not going anywhere, then you do need to get some help.
Right.
Yeah.
You need to be able to say that I tried it alone
Yeah.
Mhm.
and it ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
And then make the next choice to get, and it doesn't have it. Professional help is good because it gives you an unbiased perspective of what's going on.
Yeah.
Sometimes going to another unhappy married woman
Yeah.
to get advice about your unhappiness in your marriage and how you should forgive them might not be the
Yeah.
best thing.
Yeah.
But if you can't get professional, like I said, sound minded individuals.
That goes back to heal people, heal people.
Yes.
You can't go to somebody who got your
Broken.
problem.
Yep. And still hurting.
And it's still hurting and
Mhm.
expect to come out healed.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
And something we didn't discuss too is an authentic decision to be healed and to get over the hurt. Because there is some comfort in
And just
being
being
hurt. And you will get other people who hurt like you to just add to that
We
comfortability.
call that trauma bonding.
Trauma bonding.
Mm.
Where we just a little club.
We a club that's
a
just
club
hurt.
of bitterness and hurt.
Peel mine. Let me peel yours back a little bit. And that's what it's, dig in it.
But do you always realize that you're in that club? Because sometimes you be so hurt that you don't realize that you're in that club.
Most times you don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nobody would sign up and say, pick me.
Right. Hey,
Yeah.
y'all got any more space in it?
I feel like there'd be some people that be like,
There is.
There's always going to be some people.
like it's a small group.
I want
that want to
it.
stay
You
in
know?
that pain. That want to sit in that pain because if I sit in this pain, this defines me. Because they've been in this for so long, this is all I know.
Or I'm lonely.
Mm.
If I am lonely in my marriage and I am hurting in my marriage and I'm lonely, but this group brings me bonding and togetherness and we love on one another and wipe each other tears, then I'm being fulfilled in some way.
Why can't we just be friends and then work on how that? I mean, I guess that's where I want all of us to get to the heal part. Like, you can still have that. Like, you can still have that friend that's can, and maybe it might not be that friend that's still that want to be in that same club, that club of that. But when can we get to the point where it can be a club of healed, like where we don't have
one got to come out,
right?
Okay. We just need one.
Okay.
We just need one.
Okay.
And then that one then says, "You guys, I made it out. Y'all coming with me."
Right. Okay.
Wipe them tears. Let's do so. It and a lot of times it does happen like that because there are victors.
Yeah.
They're not just a bunch of hurt people who never get on the other side of it. They do the work.
Right.
You know, they
and that's how we
lead the
get
club.
most of our therapy referrals. Most of them are somebody saying, "Hey, girl, I found it. It's working."
Yeah. All right.
Go.
Okay.
Because they are enjoying the healing, or the other person sees it and they're like, "What's your therapist name?"
Yeah.
That's the part.
Because they see it.
They see it.
Yeah.
And that's the other piece. People have to see it on you.
Yeah.
You can't tell me you're healed.
Yeah.
I am healed. I am whole. No, you ain't.
Yeah.
You don't have to broadcast.
Right. I should be able to see it.
Yeah.
I'm listening to your discussion.
Okay.
I'm seeing how you move to see if the healing and hear me. We are all healing from stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to also add to one of the questions is we are hurting. Every single person is dealing with some level of hurt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
From the past, from the present, and some of us, our minds are even hurting toward the future.
Right.
But it is us kind of choosing, again, the choice.
Yeah.
I was telling Shalita a couple of weeks ago, my stepfather was in the hospital. Serious stuff. Now, if any of my any trauma that I've experienced, I would say 99.9% came from him.
Right.
interactions with him, you know, came from him. And so I was feeling some type of way. Like I got the call that he wasn't well and somebody needed to go. And I'm like, who that somebody? Is it me?
Right.
I gotta go.
Right.
And so I literally had to deal with, because I have forgiven,
Mm-hmm.
but there's forgiveness with distance.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to reset myself because the distance was going to be closed.
Coming together.
It was coming together. So I had to reset and I had to recommit and I had to say, you know what? All this stuff is old. It's just shadows and images.
Yes.
It's not real.
Yep.
And deal with that so that I could show up the way I was supposed to.
So
show
does
up.
that, and this is for me. This is a question for me because I had to deal with a forgiveness thing and it had to come close. So I want to know if do God know, and I'm gonna say God, does God know, or maybe you know, and with God, you know, that God, when I say I forgive, to really know if I forgiven, He puts you in a space to see if you can move on and you're not. It's not still
Absolutely.
there. Because I remember I was like, I can't think, because it's sometimes you don't see the person again and you want to forgive the person so you can get them out your head and you can move forward. Right. So I had a dream that I seen this person and I was just like, it was bad. I still was acting like, and then I woke up and I was like, God, because I'm a dreamer. So I said, God, give me another try. Like, try me again.
He was just showing you that there was something still there.
Some residue.
There was some residue that we needed to.
Some residue.
So I was like, okay. So then I said, I dreamed about it again. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, I ran into the person.
Oh, great.
But I felt like that was God preparing me
you
for that and not caring and just like, oh, okay.
How did you respond?
I just said, hey, and I moved. Like I kept moving. I don't have to have that person in my life.
That's right.
But I just wanted to make sure I was done. Like I was clear and I wasn't mean. And this was child stuff. We're adults now, but
it's about you.
It doesn't mean that they're hurt. But I wanted to make sure that I was clear. I didn't do anything wrong. But I had to be, if it wasn't for me, when I say hurt people, I need to make sure that I'm not putting stuff in my daughter that because somebody else hurt me a certain way or said a certain thing. So I wanted to make sure that I was over that. And so that's why I was asking, sometimes do God try to make sure, I'm going to put you closer to make sure. You said you forgave. You don't even have to be close again. But I just want to make sure that your heart is still.
And he uses it to seal, because with God, everything's a process.
That part.
It is faith. So you are walking everything out in your life. You're walking it out. It's not done. Deliverance isn't done. Salvation isn't done.
Forgiveness.
You're walking it out. Forgiveness, you're walking that out. So here's another opportunity.
Yeah.
Yep. And I agree. It is forgiveness is a process.
Yeah.
And we do, and I think it is some misteachings going on, that it's supposed to happen overnight or 1 week or 1 month or 1 year.
Yeah.
And we don't give ourselves grace to be able to walk it out.
And that those feelings just magically disappear.
Right. And I remember, doing that with my husband. It was like, no, stop being like that. Forgive him. And he was just like, I did. And I'm like, no, because you won't speak. And he had to explain to me, no, this is where forgiveness starts. It ends all the way over there, and I am like there, and it's the truth. It is a process.
But I think that's good, is that you allow people to be in their process when they're forgiving. Because we're so quick to be like, girl, say hi. And that high might kill me in this moment, because you don't know where I am on the spectrum.
They'll get that high right now.
Or that high may leave me swinging. Like, you don't know.
It. That part. That part.
So let people be. Not that you don't, when there's the right time to encourage them, like be a little evolved.
Yes.
But let people be in their process because everybody has a process.
And we have to let it.
We have to let it happen.
Because everybody got different stuff. I may not have anger issues where somebody else might. So pushing them to be in the person phase could go real south.
They're going to turn it out.
Right. And they might do more just to be funny.
Right. And I may have self-control, or that person may have more self-control than me.
Yeah.
Like it is very, very individualized.
Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah. She said it's not okay.
No,
I'm joking.
It is okay to give the
process.
But what you did ain't okay.
Right.
What you did ain't okay, but it's okay for them to take their time.
Right. So you guys, let me tell you, I'm so grateful for you guys coming. These are licensed clinical therapists that helped me today. And I am so grateful. I hope you got help, because I got a little bit of help. Look, listen, a lot of bit of help.
A lot of it.
A lot of it help. So I hope this helped you guys. And in the description below, we'll have like a timestamp of all the questions. So if you want to if you see a question that you just want the answer to and go see that, go check that out in the description. And I'm sure you guys are going to come back and visit again.
Definitely.
Whenever I need help.
Our favorite talk show.
Right. And just speak that thing. We went from a podcast to a talk show. A little over.
Right.
It's our little
yes.
Thank you guys. And thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Love you guys. Bye. Hey everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you got anything from it, please share it with someone you think it will bless. And make sure you never miss an episode by subscribing to the Christyn Show right here on YouTube. You can download the audio-only version by subscribing to the show on most major podcast platforms. Also, make sure you check out our links in the comments below for more ways to engage with me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Christyn Show.